Does one fulfill his obligation of a bracha if he did not hear every single word being said from the person saying the bracha? For example, you're listening to the bracha of Hamaitzi Lechem Min Haaretz, you're listening to the bracha of Kiddush, of Havdalah, the bracha of Mikra Megillah, of Tkiyah Shofar, and you missed some of the words or one word due to noise, due to coming in late, in the middle, whatever the reason is. Are you Yotzei the bracha, or do you have to say the bracha again on your own? So we have a clear ruling in Shulchanaruch, in the Alter Rebbe, chapter 213, Halacha 4, brought in the Mechaber Shulchanaruch 213.3, based on the Rambam Brachas 111, based on the Gemara in Brachas 53b, and many other sources, that one does not fulfill his obligation with any blessing, even if he answers Amen, unless he hears the entire blessing from beginning until the end. Some of these poskim write the word entire, kol habracha. Others simply write from beginning until the end. But either way, what is implied is that you must hear every single word of the blessing to be yotzei. And if you missed even one word, it's invalidated. You have to say your own bracha. Furthermore, in such a case, as explained in the Alter Rebbe 124 Halacha 11, you're not even allowed to answer Amen. There's any bracha that you plan on being yotzei with, and you cannot, due to in invalidation, you may not answer Amen for that blessing. However, in truth, we find that the later Achreinim clarify that this conclusion that we said is not in fact the case. While we all agree that you must hear the beginning of the blessing and the end of the blessing, thus we collectively call it the entire blessing from beginning to end, it doesn't mean that if you miss one word, it's invalid. And rather, this is dependent on, is the missed word that you did not hear considered part of Iker Matbei Shakavu Chachamim? Is it considered part of the main dialect of the blessing or not? If it is, then if you missed it, it's invalid. If it's not part of the main dialect and you missed it, then it's still valid because you heard everything else that's part of the main dialect. So rules the Mishnah Berurah in Sharat Tzion 213.3 as his clarification. And so is brought in the Alter Rebbe 124.14 and 180. 4:10 that only some miswords invalidate the blessing while others do not. So clearly the wording that we brought from all the poskim above, that you must hear the entire blessing from beginning to end, is not literally every single word. Now what remains for us to clarify is, so which words are in fact part of the main dialect of the blessing and if not heard is invalidated, and which are not, and if not heard the blessing remains valid. So for this we must differentiate between long brachas, such as Havdalah, Kiddush, Yotzei, that they start with an opening blessing, have a few sentences, then end with a blessing, and short blessings which are just Baruch Atah Hashem Shakol Niyeh B'Dvarim. A short blessing, or the concluding blessing of Havdalah and Kiddush and Yotzei, which is also a short blessing. So let's begin with the short blessings. By all short blessings, the following words are considered Iker Matbei Shakavu Chachamim, and therefore if missed, either by a person saying the bracha or by someone listening to the bracha, he did not hear these words, it's invalid. The word Baruch, you didn't hear the word Baruch, it's no good. As we said before, you must hear from the beginning till the end, and this is the beginning. And so rules the Mishnah Berurah in 213.19. If you didn't hear Hashem's name, Hashem Elokeinu, you didn't hear it, you're not Yotzei. However, the Mishnah Berurah explains that if you heard one of Hashem's names, either Hashem or Elokeinu, you are Yotzei. The word Melech and Ha'olam, both the Shulchanaruch and Mechaber in 214.1 and the Alter Rebbe in 214.1 rule that HaMelech and Melech Ha'olam are both from the main dialect, and if either word was missed, whether Melech or Ha'olam, one is not Yotzei, although there are poskim that argue this is the final ruling. In addition to that, the conclusion of the blessing, such as Shakol Niyeh B'Dvarim, if one did not hear, he also does not fulfill his obligation. However, it's not clear which words exactly one must hear in the conclusion for it to be valid. Regarding the word Atah, if someone said Baruch Atah Hashem, and you did not hear the word Atah, you just said Baruch Hashem, the Mishnah Berurah writes that one does fulfill his obligation, and so can be applied also from the Alter Rebbe. So it ends up that while in short blessings we have a certain amount of words that for sure invalidate if you didn't hear, such as Baruch, Hashem's names, Melech, Ha'olam, parts of the conclusion of the sentence, some say Atah does not invalidate, and it's unclear if other words invalidate or not. However, the Kaf HaChaim in his Sefer, chapter 214, Halacha 3, based on the Arizal, brings that in a short blessing, every single word is part of the main dialect, and therefore if you missed even one word, you don't feel your obligation. He says by the Arizal, we don't apply the rule of Safek Brachas Lahakal. So according to the Kaf HaChaim, by a short blessing, if you missed any word that you didn't hear, you don't feel your obligation. Practically, while this is the position of the Kaf HaChaim, others do argue, and hence we would have to apply the rule of Safek Brachas Lahakel, and the rule would be as follows. If you didn't hear Baruch, Melech, or Ha'olam, or Hashem's names, you for sure don't feel your obligation in the Bracha V'Agafen, Hameitzi, Hamavdil, Ben Kodesh L'Chil, Mekadosh HaShabbos, and any of those blessings and the like, which is a short one-sentence blessing. Regarding if you missed the other words in the short one-sentence blessing, it's unclear. It's a machlekes, Safek Brachas Lahakel, so to escape this, what should you do? Hear the blessing again from another person. Regarding the long blessings, the long blessings start and end with a bracha. The conclusion blessing is considered a short blessing, so that has all the laws we just explained. While the opening blessing, its actual opening of Baruch Hashem, also follows the rule we just explained. If you didn't hear the word Baruch, you didn't hear the words Hashem, etc., you don't feel your obligation. Regarding the words in the middle, so you have to verify the words that you missed. Are those words considered the main part of the blessing or not? And this depends, each bracha, in accordance to what the Chachamim set for it, and have to be looked at individually to discover the law. So practically, to summarize, in order to be Yotzei bracha, you must hear all the main words of the blessing, from beginning to end. What is defined as a main word? For certain, the word Baruch, Hashem Elokeinu, Melech Ha'olam, and part of the conclusion are all main words. Regarding other words, if it's a one-sentence blessing, it's a dispute whether the other words are main words or not. Well, if it's a large blessing, some words are considered main words, some are not, and have to be judged and looked at individually. And in all cases of doubt, Safek Brachas Lahakel, but try to hear the blessing from another person.
Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com. Our free services of making Torah knowledge available to the public depends on donors like you. Please help us continue our work through making even a small contribution at Shulchanaruchharav.com under the Daily Halacha Dedication section or in the subscription page. Also, check out our online courses and many sefarim available for purchase that will both enhance your Torah knowledge and help support our work.